right now is
No.
those decorative balls.
Oh, the decorative balls
that-
in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are
Do they
your
look
Christmas
I like
balls.
to call them winter balls.
Winter ball. Okay, that's enough ball talking.
I think we need to change them.
What was I going to say?
What else could we put
Oh,
there?
you know what I have like that is normal, and then I have something that's abnormal. Is I have a long torso. So
Yes, I
like if my torso was in line with my legs, then I would probably be a decent height.
You have wee
But I feel
little
like
legs.
I feel like all my life I felt I was a bit short. 5'7.5".
That is not short.
No, it's at the low end of average though. You know what I mean?
Don't be self-conscious about your
No.
wee little legs.
You know what? When you came down the stairs and presented yourself as Princess Vicky has arrived, I just thought I looked at you because you have gray pants on, and I just was like, gray is your thing. Like gray makes you pop. Like your eyes, your glasses, your hair.
What?
Like you look crisp. Like when you see a guy on the street and he's kind of like a bit thuggy, and he has like cool clothes, and he has a crisp new shoes, white runners, the high tops, maybe a crisp white hoodie, and you're like, and he's got the chain dangling out. That's what you look like. But like
in my gray tracksuit.
older mom, yeah, you look like
Older mom.
You came downstairs, and I was like, she looks crisp.
So this is my unemployment outfit. It has nothing to do with COVID. I lost my job and
Did you lose your
moved
job?
into track pants. And I got rid
moved
of
into track
the
pants.
majority of my dress clothes. Not because I think I'm never going to work again. I'm a little bit young for retirement and we are not independently wealthy. However, I think I prayed and asked God that I never had to work in an office quite like that again. Like just not a fancy office.
Yeah, you had to dress up.
And
like
then,
you had to wear
and then I
business
decided
attire.
that like my business attire is all pretty old and I just gave it all away.
Did you really?
I
Oh,
kept
there's no
some
turning
stuff.
back.
I
So
kept
there's
some
no
stuff.
turning back.
No. Well, I kept some
We can't
stuff.
afford for you to get a job now, like
I know,
in a dressy place.
No. I have enough that like I could get by. Like
See,
if I had to go to interviews and stuff.
I grew up in the era, same as you. Like our kids' era, they wear track pants outside. I grew up in the era that track pants came from Byway or Bargain Heralds, and they were like super staticky.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's
And so,
bad.
like for us, you would never wear track pants outside.
I-
Like maybe if you're athletic, like maybe if you're a gym guy or a sports.
I moved into my Roots track pants in unemployment and definitely started going out of the house in them
you're
by
literally
accident.
wearing them out. I didn't know that was
I'm
possible.
actually wearing them out. Like
You
I
can
need
see
new ones,
they're
but they're
thin.
so expensive.
like $80.
I can't justify it. And then I don't want to buy cheap ones because I know I won't be happy with them. So I just wear the same ones every day. And then on laundry day, it's like, what do I do?
Your heart rate goes up.
I try to do
I
my
shouldn't
laundry
say
before
this,
my son
but
wakes
I
up.
want to, is that when you're washing your
If
track
you shouldn't
pants,
say it,
I
you
promise.
probably shouldn't
I
say
saw you
it.
putting on your jeans, and you put on like 3 pairs,
Okay.
and you took them off because you were like,
I know.
It's same
It's
with me. Same with
it's
me.
a
I have
problem.
one pair. I have 2 pairs of pants that fit
It's a
me.
problem.
No, it's horrible.
Someone else knows Byway. Someone else knows Byway.
Who doesn't know Byway? Like that's the Byway and Bargain Heralds. Do you remember Bargain Heralds? Did Giant Tiger take over all of those brands?
I grew up in
or did
Manitoba.
they become them?
We didn't have Giant Tiger, and I don't know what we had.
No one had Giant Tiger until like 2000s.
I don't even know where we did our shopping.
But did you have Bargain Herald?
This is going on for too long.
Did you have Byway?
I don't
Bargain
know.
Herald?
I don't remember.
You don't
I have
remember?
memory loss issues. I don't remember things like that. I could ask my friend the friend that remembers things for me. Like I honestly call her and I'm like, hey, so what happened? Where did we buy our clothes? Like I ask her all kinds of stuff. And
I have a friend that
she's like, I'm
remembers
so glad
every song from the 80s, like every word and all the movie lines.
I know.
All right, let's
Do you
hit
think that has to do with trauma or just anyway, I don't want to go in that conversation. So today we're going to do our morning. We're going to do our morning meditation that we do together every morning. To be honest, we're not doing it on weekends right now, but I read it on my phone on the weekend. We just don't do it together. And this one is out of a book of codependency. And just, should I start reading? Is it my turn?
Would you just start reading?
All right. So I was 46 years old before I finally admitted to myself and someone else that my grandfather always managed to make me feel guilty, angry, and controlled. That is a quote from an anonymous person. We may love and care about our family very much. Family members may love and care about us, but interacting with some members may be a real trigger to our codependency. sometimes to a deep abyss of shame, rage, anger, guilt, and helplessness. It can be difficult to achieve a detachment on an emotional level with certain family members. It can be difficult to separate their issues from ours. It can be difficult to own our own power. Difficult, but not impossible. The first step is awareness and acceptance. Simple acknowledgement without guilt of our feelings and thoughts. We do not have to blame our family members. We do not have to blame or shame ourselves. Acceptance is the goal. Acceptance and freedom to choose what we want and need to do to take care of ourselves with that person. We can become free of the patterns of the past. We are recovering. Progress is the goal. Today, higher power, help me be patient with myself as I learn how to apply recovery behaviors with family members. Help me strive today for awareness and acceptance.
Mm. And that's why we say it's a family disease, because addiction is like a tornado that affects everyone. And so it came up in my group last night that we were talking about making amends. And so in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it says, there's a part where it says, like, how did they articulate it in a very, this is what we believe you should do. And you should sit down the family and you should try to understand and get out everything, how you've hurt them. And then you talk it through. And so it's like, okay, so I get that part, but that's scary. So one of the girls asked, like, you didn't really say that sorry was something that we should implement. And he's like, no, you need to say sorry, but you need to know why you're saying sorry. So it might not be the best idea in your first few months or a year of recovery to sit down the family, because it's because of what I've done, the family has reacted and we've lived this way for 15 years. So let's not try to understand it all. But one of the principles that we want to live in recovery is just like I was a tornado. And when you saw me coming, you were fearful. When you saw me leaving, it was like decimation. And so now I'm in recovery. So can my life just show that?
Yeah. And I think that actually is really good, because for us, like, I think that's what happened with us.
Yeah,
is
for
like,
sure.
I don't remember you sitting us down and saying, like, tell me, I actually remember feeling frustrated because, like, I had so much anger that I just wanted to, like, unleash on you. And it probably wouldn't have been wise early in your recovery to, like, subject yourself to that.
Try to find all the nuances on how I've destroyed the family.
But I do recall that one of the reasons that I was willing for you to move back in was because you were doing things. You weren't making any promises. You were just doing things, and then you would tell me about them later. So you would tell me about what you were learning in recovery. You would tell me what you learned at a meeting. Then you were telling me about, something you heard at church. And then you invited us to come to church. And I was like, what, you've been going to church? Like, who are you? And then you told me about another group that you've been going to. And then you were like, yeah, it's going to be done. And, like, it's going to start up again whenever. And would you come with me? And I was like, you've been doing this for how long? Like, you've been going to that group for 6 months probably before you told me about it. And so coming out of a life of addiction where all you did was make promises that you could never keep, now all of a sudden you were just doing things and they were so different. I was very intrigued and I was very like, okay. So I think that actually is the perfect analogy of, like, just stop being a tornado, right? Like, so you're not going to live like a tornado anymore. So just, like, live your new life and things will unfold. And
then there's like a year or two for that to unfold. So now when I come through the door or when I leave, you're not going like, oh, when's he coming back? You already know the answer to that because you see me in recovery and now you're in recovery. Right. And we're all in recovery, where before we were all in addiction.
And I think the significant thing for me about the family part of the disease was that I actually needed to be doing something about my anger, my frustration, so I needed to be going to meetings. I needed to be reading. I needed to be working my own program, because otherwise I'm just going to, yes, I have all these feelings, but, like, I'm so angry with you about the past. And there's a certain way of living that says, like, I'm never going to be okay until this didn't happen. I heard a therapist say one time, like, there's some people that will never be happy until their father, treated them well when they were 5.
And their fathers passed away.
That's just never
it's
going to
not gonna
happen. And so are you just never going to be happy? And so I think that that's what I realized was like, I actually have made a choice to live with this person. I've made a choice to have this person back in my life. So I have to choose, how are we going to navigate this? What am I going to do with all this guilt and frustration?
So then you got 3 parts of the family of addiction. You have like the partners in addiction, but then you have the pre-family, the family of origin, where we've come from different avenues, and maybe there was addiction that got passed up, and maybe that there's stuff there in the family. But then you have the other part of it with the kids.
Yeah.
And so how do the kids get into the kids are in addiction when we're in addiction, but then how do they get out of addiction? Like, what are some
the addictive cycle?
Yeah.
And
so I think the kids get to see the new life. And so maybe there was 5 or 8 or 10 years of addiction or 20 years of addiction. But then how do you, like, what would you say to the children of, like, how do they get the recovery that you have? Or is it just it's not as intense and they don't need a recovery program? They just need the assurance and comfort that mom and dad or whoever is in recovery.
I think that children can be very resilient. And I think that our same thing with kids as with, partners or spouses or family of origin is like our actions speak so loud. And so when we start showing up in our life with our family, with our kids, with our, and being present and being consistent, and they know that they can rely on us, like, I think that speaks volumes. And then, if our kid needs to, at some point go to therapy, or if your child needs a support group to talk to, or a grief counselor, or there's lots available now, lots available. Tons of stuff. Of resources.
And we were very open and transparent with addiction.
Age appropriate. I feel like we were for the most part, pretty age appropriate with our kids, but we were honest.
Because in grade 5, 6, 7, 8 is where they may start being introduced to marijuana and alcohol and stuff that could be addictive to them.
Yeah. And I think that we just weren't successful in like hiding that there was a major problem. And so we just had to, like, at a certain point, we just had to talk about it. And then, there is some fear, but like already there was already a knowing, right? Daddy didn't show up. Daddy didn't come home. He said he was going to do this. The kids are already used to being disappointed and being frustrated. And so as we walked into recovery, it was like, we needed to be honest. Like, daddy's sick and he's going somewhere to get help. And so we're going to visit him and we're going to pray for him and we want him to come home. And so we're going to do this.
Yeah. So, back then we presented it. I was in school, rehab at a homeless shelter. Well, but that's graceful. I think that was very graceful of you to being able to, at Christmas time, going like, I'm in school and this is where his classroom is. And he's living here for now. And
then if you don't, if we can't follow through, if we don't follow through, I think honest conversations need to be had, because children know when you're not following through,
But that's a tornado of addiction. It affects everybody, from the kids to the family of origin. The family of origin may have been addicted and affected.
Right. Oh. And I think that I like in this reading, they talk about like certain interactions being a real trigger. And I like, I remember unpacking that. Like, I remember being in situations and thinking like, I am reacting like a crazy person right now. Like, I'm reacting
like a victim
at a skyrocket level to a situation that really only deserved like maybe a 5 reaction, like, sure, this was kind of a frustrating situation, but why am I reacting at like, an obscene level when, the situation really probably only deserved a low level reaction? Well, I have all this stuff going on behind me. My reaction is coming out of 13 years of pain.
Addiction.
Right. And so for me, that the difficulty of like detachment and like what that actually meant, and detachment has such a negative connotation, but it was just like, you need to do your thing over there. It's not like I hate you. It's not like I don't want to talk to you, but I need to be over here and I need to process this. And I actually needed to do stuff to process it. So I think that we we don't have to do it by ourselves.
Well, and that's one of the biggest things I've learned out of this book is about detachment. Like what I didn't even know that word. Really. I didn't understand it. Yeah, it's healthy
thing.
All right, maybe we've brought up stuff. I know it's brought up stuff for me. It's like, oh, how have I hurt my kids? How have I hurt my parents? And maybe there is some shoelaces untied there, and maybe the Spirit of God is leading me into understanding that. But maybe you're somebody that has hurt your family or has no family because of your addiction. But know that recovery can bring all things back together. God can do miracles, not on your power, but on God's power. And so recovery, we invite you into recovery. And so if you have questions or comments, please reach out. If you are in pain or going through stuff that your addiction has affected your family. And
we have a small group. We have a little group of people that meet every Wednesday at noon, which is today. If you are watching this today at noon Eastern.
We're going to be talking about grief today.
Is about, noon Eastern, which is in about 2 hours. So yeah, we're going to talk about grief and have a little time of questions or sharing. So feel free to join us. The info is on our page.
Yeah, hit it up. All right, we recover together. We are a tornado in our addiction, but then we are, would you say angelic? I was a tornado and now I'm an angel?
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, that's a good description.
All right, on that note, we'll leave. Wash your hands and keep the peace and be of good behavior. Until next time at noon.
Did a judge say that to you once?
Oh my goodness, yes. Okay. Lots of times. Okay, bye.